It's Jim Rice, and it's January 27th, 2018. I am here at the Beaufort National Cemetery in South Carolina. The whole cemetery is really dedicated to the collection of the remains of Union soldiers after the Civil War. And if you give me a few minutes here, I'll tell you our personal Rice story related to this cemetery. If you follow me over to this table monument, this monument includes over 200, is a memorial to over 200 Union soldiers who were buried initially in Charleston, South Carolina, and in the 1880s they brought the remains to here to Beaufort. It is unmarked in that it is unknown kind of exactly where the remains are of these 200 plus Union soldiers, but they're here. One of these soldiers was my third great uncle, and here I'm going to point to the name where it says D.L. Rice. What's interesting is that D.L. Rice is actually Isaac Rice, and they made a mistake in the on the memorial. But he is my third great uncle, and he is buried here somewhere in part of the unmarked graves of all the remains of these 200 plus Union soldiers who died in Charleston. The reason they died in Charleston was they were imprisoned in Andersonville, Georgia initially, and those who know their Civil War history would know that Andersonville is was one of the worst prisons for Union soldiers that the Confederates had. He was imprisoned there from April 1864 until September 1864. And what's interesting about being imprisoned there was that he was imprisoned with his twin brother. Isaac had a twin brother named Abraham, and they had joined the military together, and so they were both imprisoned there during that time period. One of the interesting things about it was when Sherman did his march to the sea beginning in September of 1864, the reason they were nervous at Andersonville, so they moved these prisoners, and these prisoners here that the remains are buried here were actually moved to Charleston, South Carolina, where Isaac passed away. The Rice brothers were captured in Plymouth, North Carolina, in a very interesting battle there where the garrison was actually trapped by a ironclad that the Confederates built called the Albemarle, and then some Confederate troops coming from the land. So another link in the chain. The last piece I would say regarding the link in the chain, that Isaac Rice died as a POW, a prisoner of war. His second great grandfather, Christian Miller, actually came to America as a Hessian soldier, and he was captured in Trenton by George Washington, and that's another story as well. But he was captured. The good news for the Rice family was that he was captured, took off a oath of allegiance to America at the end of the war, and immigrated to Bedford County, which is where Bedford County, Pennsylvania, which is where Isaac was born as well.